Well, hey now, everybody. It's the Rob from 106.1 KISS FM here with my tag team partner in podcasting. Please welcome to the broadcast the wonderful, the amazing, rambling Jerry Valeri. Good morning, Jer.
Good morning. And I'd like to go ahead and make a promise that you will get at least a dozen less F words than you would during the Super Bowl coverage.
Oh, my gosh. That was crazy. If anyone's friends with me on Facebook, my real name is Rob Hirschbiel. Just have fun spelling it.
Yeah, you'll never figure it out.
And I found this. I didn't find it. I took it myself. I was watching Super Bowl postgame coverage. I found it was like a 40-second clip, and I counted 5 F words on Fox Broadcasting.
Right, and I thought the most egregious of them. You didn't post. It was right after they're interviewing it, and Tom Brady's surrounded by cameras, and LeGarrette Blount, their scumbag running back who got cut by the Steelers because he couldn't quit the weed. He goes up to Tom Brady and he's like, "You're the greatest, man. No, you the effing greatest. You the effing greatest." And I was like, "Oh my God, dude."
But Fox doesn't. Do they not have a delay or any like what? How did this float by so many times?
0 attempts to fix it.
They just didn't care. They gave no Fs.
None. No, they gave a lot of Fs.
Yeah, or maybe they gave too many Fs.
Too many Fs. They were handing them out.
I mean, I am not easily offended, and I'm not. But like, as just a broadcaster. If that happened to you or me, we'd be wetting our pants.
We'd feel in trouble. But you can't. It's like the people that can be punished for that weren't the ones doing it, and they weren't even the ones on the field at the time. Like you're basically videotaping people that are volatile, crazy, and emotional, and have absolutely no ties to the punishment you'll receive if you receive any.
That is irrelevant, though. They have if nothing else, the capability of a dump that they don't use. If you're going to go live, especially on a broadcast as big as the Super Bowl, you gotta have a delay. You got to.
Right, and maybe you don't dump the video, but you dump the audio.
Absolutely. Or eventually you can mute the camera and keep getting I'm just offended as a broadcaster, not as a person. Like I don't have any kids that turned into stone from hearing it, but like seriously, it's just insulting to hear that many F words that you can cover up.
Yeah, I mean my kids can hear F words. They'd have heard plenty of F words if I was an Atlanta Falcons fan in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Did you see, I assume you probably didn't. The only place I've seen it was shared from, I think it was Xavier Woods' personal Facebook page. He's from Atlanta. He's a Falcons fan. And Kofi's from New England. So they were watching the game together, and they have like a highlight reel of their reactions. And I assume it's really just from the fourth quarter because it begins with Kofi just losing his mind with excitement. But it was really funny.
It was probably preceded with 2 hours of Kofi wanting to die and Xavier Woods just like making fun of him because that's what the whole game was.
Yeah, I gotta tell you. But what a great game to watch! I thought the halftime show was great. I thought it was a high drama game, especially in that last quarter and the last half. Just a great night of football.
Yeah, it was good. It was great. And Lady Gaga was amazing. And, anyone that I've heard say that she wasn't, they had made their mind up before she ever performed.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. You want to talk about Raw last night? They probably gave us some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, let us talk about it. Let's talk about Raw. I'll let you. I'm just going to follow your lead, but I have a couple thoughts.
Okay, yeah, I have some things. Obviously, I think the big story last night, well, there are several things of note, I feel like, that we can talk about. Obviously, there was the debut of Samoa Joe. There's the future plans for Goldberg and Kevin Owens and even Chris Jericho. It seems like last night they really laid a foundation for where Raw's going, and I like that.
Right. They're laying a foundation for Mania, even though it looks like they're selling fast.
Yeah,
they're getting Mania ready, and I think this year's Fastlane is going to have more action than last year's Fastlane.
Yeah, I don't remember specifically what all was on last year's Fastlane, but I just remember I don't remember which one was Was that the full-on pay-per-view, or is that the network special that drove us crazy?
I'm pretty sure it's Fastlane. It was Fastlane or Roadblock, one of the two that it ended up could have changed all of Mania and then didn't.
That was a network special. So that was disappointing because I felt like in that one special they had the opportunity to write the course. They had the opportunity to write the course of the WrestleMania that they lost control of and became kind of a nightmare, and they didn't do it. And that disappointed me. Yeah. And I don't know if we're going to have a situation like that on our hands or not. I still think, you see, it's like, in like the post show, I'm noticing a lot of people regurgitating stuff that they're reading on the internet, which I understand. But
because I don't read internet news for that reason.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know if they're regurgitating it or not.
Yeah, and that's what I'm seeing, and I find that, it's like I kind of wish just like what people would make their own opinions about like what matches are coming up, because stuff can change. And even the cards that I've been reading have been changing over and over again. And I've been trying to stick by my guns with everything and not let the internet influence me. And people I'm just seeing on our specific post show just kind of going with whatever they read. And, I think if you sit down and think about stuff, you can make some logical thoughts on your own.
Right. Well, what do you think Undertaker's going to do?
Well, I mean, now it seems like Reigns is the way to go, and I hate being the guy who regurgitates after saying that, but it seems like now
even after last night, it seems like Reigns and Strowman are head to head with each other. Even if they have a fight at Fastlane, it just seems like they're gonna go.
Yeah, maybe it's still is Reigns, or maybe it still is Strowman. But here's my thing now. Now I think that well, I mean, I know we have our predictions episode next week, but spoilers, whatever. I think that Goldberg's going to take the title from Owens, and I think that
that won't be at this card. That'll be at another card.
Well, it's going to be a Fastlane.
Yeah, not Elimination Chamber. The prediction episode will be for early.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Absolutely, yeah, I forgot about that. So I think that Goldberg's going to take the title.
So many pay-per-views.
I know, man. Well, I mean, we had a pay-per-view last Sunday, and now we got people this Sunday. It's ridiculous.
Right. Elimination Chamber.
But I think that Goldberg and Lesnar will probably be for the title, although I think
I don't know if it's a mistake. I agree. I think this is how we get to Owens Jericho. And they laid the foundation last night when Jericho accepted the match on behalf of Kevin Owens.
Which was another thing. I have another note about that, but okay.
I thought that was a great segment, by the way. But we'll get to that.
Okay, well, let's get to it now. It was a great segment, and I agree. My only thing is, and I think I remember this specifically. So Jericho matches now, and this was I almost specifically remember, although I don't specifically remember, but I almost remember Mick Foley telling Jericho, "You don't make the matches, I do."
You don't make them. Well, Michael Cole kind of covered that up, and at the end and said, of course we have to get approval from our general manager Mick Foley and then Stephanie McMahon, but they'd be stupid not to do it. They'd be foolish not to make this match.
Well, then, if that's the way we're going to cover our tail, that's fine. But then Owens should be mad at Foley and Stephanie and not Jericho.
Right. Although
getting mad at people for planting the seeds, you get mad at Goldberg for challenging him. I feel like in real life, Jericho's the last person of all of them that you should be mad at.
Just let it happen.
So
just let it happen.
So there's that. I'm getting a note saying we have audio problems. I don't know what the problem could be.
Audio.
It's not you. I mean, Steve, if you could be more specific. I'll try to help that out.
I hear you perfectly, Rob.
Okay. I'm gonna keep going. I don't know. Maybe it's on his end. I'm not sure. I'm doing nothing different over here, but sorry about that. So what else do we have? So there's that. My
line of the night came from there too. Just because I marked out when Goldberg put himself on the list.
Oh, is that what did it? Is that that was your line of the night?
Yeah, Goldberg made the list. Like I like that. I like that he just kind of took the list and then he took the pen, and Jericho was money as always. And as soon as it happened, I was like, okay, Kevin Owens is not going to be the champion come WrestleMania. I didn't think he ever was going to be. I wanted him to be, but it makes sense. You know, I don't think that Kevin Owens and Jericho needs a belt for their match.
That's the thing. And
but,
here, go ahead.
But they want Brock Lesnar to be champion, and Brock Lesnar is going to win the championship at Mania, and he will be the champion for a while.
I feel like Goldberg and Lesnar doesn't need a title. I feel like Jericho and Owens doesn't really need a title, but as a backup, they could use what do they have? The U.S. title?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even need that, to be honest with you. And you could get another great title match out of something. I actually thought it was going to be Roman and Strowman. It still could be. But that's what I would have done. I would have used the belt better elsewhere.
That's why they should have kept the belt on Roman, the U.S. championship. He was a good U.S. champion, but they had to force feed him into the main event again, and now you have what you have.
You may disagree with me. I'm sure some people will. I feel like once the belt gets off Owens, he's going to kind of go back to that mid-card, and I don't mean it as an insult. People take it as one. You need a whole card of different people on different levels to make a good wrestling show. But I feel like they will more be in that U.S. title feud.
I agree. I love it, but he hasn't been a main event champion yet. He hasn't been a main event Universal champion as much as I'd want him to be. And that's not really him. You know, if you look at his title reign, it's been completely for Brock Lesnar and Goldberg being the main events. He hasn't even been in the eyes of the bookers on WWE for Raw. He hasn't even been the top guy on Raw. They've been looking.
That's a really good point.
They've been looking at Goldberg and Lesnar since Survivor Series as the number one guys. Your champion has just been like upper mid-card, lower main event. And
yeah, I agree with that.
And so when he loses the belt, he's going to have to keep fighting.
Yeah. Well, my thing is just I think it's going to be the next belt he fights for won't be the Universal Championship again. It will be the.
I think
possibly.
Him and AJ Styles would be fun. I think him and Samoa Joe would be fun, but
and that's the problem with the brand extension, Jared. They could still do that if they didn't make the draft and the explicit rosters. You can still have every angle you're doing now without splitting the rosters.
Right. So, now Samoa Joe can't get his hands on AJ Styles.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right, and that's frustrating. Not only that, you're getting rematches after rematches after rematches. There was another one last night. The tag team championship had even explicitly in the name of it. They enacted their rematch clause. Faces on some of these shows, but we keep them separated, and I think the only way to do it. If you wrote the shows stricter, if you restricted yourself as a writer, instead of blowing your wad every show, having to get your main event guys on there every single time, yeah, you could make it work both ways. You'd have the best of both worlds.
You know, I hate to go back to the old Raws that we were watching together and the Attitude Era Raws, but there'd be some nights where you maybe didn't see Razor Ramon wrestle. You might see him. You might see him. You see Stone Cold wrestle tonight, but at some point he might run over you with a monster truck. But he might not have a match. You know, you can't without having a match. You don't have to have Dolph Ziggler fight Kalisto every week for a month to tell me that they don't like each other. I don't need to see it every time.
Yeah, I mean, I said before how I would write the shows. I would keep the same exact angles you have now. You still have AJ feuding with Cena and Cena going into an elimination chamber and all this stuff, and you still have Jericho on one show, but there's no reason why those segments can't be on Raw one week and then flip-flop the next week. It would give it the same amount of airtime, just shuffle what shows they're on. And
then
I
like the brand extension because it makes you have to watch on Tuesday nights, though. That's
when SmackDown first started. SmackDown was just as important as Raw was. I'm talking about in like 99, 2000. Okay, you could, if you made it as important, it became a B show over time. If you have it live now, you have this, you write it with the same level of importance as you're writing Raw. It doesn't need to be secondary, you know?
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that. I'm beating a dead horse. We'll move forward. Okay.
Did you like the Samoa Joe opener?
Yeah. Note that for some reason I don't think that the match is going to happen. I wound up being wrong. Switch kind of endings, where like Seth Rollins might come out or Triple H might come out, or just something would happen that the match was not going to take place.
I thought the same thing, and then they kind of delivered on it when Joe batters Roman on the entrance.
That's true. When they went to their last commercial break, or their second to last commercial break, they did say, will this match even happen? We'll find out next.
And I was like, no, it's not. But it did. You know, to their credit, it did. And then Strowman broke it up or whatever and gave Joe his debut win. I thought Joe looked good all night. I thought he looked super strong. They made him look like a superstar. And at the end, he looked really great. He looked dominant.
Well, then you're going to like my note because while I thought that good example of Samoa Joe. What I mean by that is he's an intense guy. He gets very wet and sweaty. He's big and intimidating. He's Samoa Joe. The match is not great. And that's kind of the way I feel about Joe. He brings an excitement. He brings a stiffness. He brings a realism and an intensity to his matches that other wrestlers don't bring, but I don't enjoy the final product is the only way I can describe it.
So far, so good. I mean, I'm just being introduced to him for sort of the first time, and I love it. And I loved it. I thought it was great.
Last night you got Samoa Joe.
Good. Well, then I'm going when Roman Reigns came out, though, when he first comes and you realize that now they're going to have to give him Roman Reigns.
So let me.
I was like, son of a Baptist preacher.
I don't want to dissuade you or change your mind on Joe. I mean, I want you to like him. What did you like about him?
Everything that you just said. He was intense and he was stiff. He doesn't look like everybody else. He's got, you know, he's a Samoan, but he's not acting like he's all Samoan. You know, it's in his name, but he's not coming out with a goofy, you know, headhunter's gimmick or anything like that.
Well,
he's I don't know. He just looks mean and he's different.
When I criticize people with Samoan gimmicks, I criticize them for kind of being emotionless, kind of not reacting to things, kind of just being straightforward. My gimmick is I'm Samoan. Right. And I think Joe is as guilty of that as Roman Reigns is.
You do?
I do.
I mean, his name is Samoa Joe. So
it's in the name.
But I haven't heard him say oh, I'm Samoan. But does he?
I mean, you don't hear Roman Reigns do that, but it's. I mean,
we did hear him do that one time on a Raw. It was annoying.
The commentators do it for us, you know.
Right.
And with Joe, his name does it for us.
It really does. I don't know. I like it. I like the intensity, the stiffness.
All right, stick with that then.
He seems like a mean heel. Like he seems like someone that'll be good to watch.
I hope you're right. I really do. Like I said, I just have prior experience with Joe. I differ from the mainstream, or at least the the internet wrestling community. He's kind of their darling, and I usually enjoy those people. Joe is just not one of those guys to me. And I want to change my mind on it. I noticed it seems like he ditched the Muscle Buster. I don't know if it's been going for a long time, but he won with a different finish. I forget what it was now, but it wasn't the Muscle Buster that broke Tyson Kidd's neck.
By the way, you said internet darling. The Omega fight. I saw the match with Okada, and it was superb. It really was. I'll give it 5 stars because I feel like 4.5 to 5 stars. It was one of the best storytelling matches. It was so great. The only problem I had with it is I don't know.
That's certainly a barrier to entry.
Yeah, so if I cared about either one of them, I think that I would have been absolutely over the moon for that fight. But yeah, it was as awesome as everybody said it was. Which, when I hear 5 stars, 6 stars, like that one that you and I both disagreed with.
The Nakamura Zayn match.
Yeah, it was just a spot fest. It was a good match, but it wasn't the best of all time. And I won't call this one the best of all time.
Yeah, that match to me.
Omega and Okada the best of all time, just because I don't have an emotional investment in it. But match-wise, just looking at it, watching it, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I gave it 4 3/4 stars, so that's not much of a difference.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to watch that. I think that it was it's a match that anyone who considers themselves like a smart. Okay, a few more notes. What else do I have here? We can talk about Strowman. He was back in Jobber City. Not that he's getting jobbed out, but because he wrestled 4 jobbers last night.
Do they need to remind us if he's that good? Is that what they needed to do?
I think they just.
I do like the pile pin though. Yeah.
Reigns. I'm not worried about this derailing him or anything, but I got to mention their names. Big shout out to CeCe Bonin, Rob Pelly, Dusty Wallace, and James Stock.
Yep.
All of you did the job to Strowman last night. We speak your names.
Well done.
Very good. And then let's see. Here's a note that I had. I don't know if you're aware of this, but I noticed for the past, and I've read this before, since about WrestleMania 30, the number of WrestleMania. For example, they've taken the numbers out of the logo, and you just hear people say at WrestleMania as opposed to at WrestleMania 31.
I didn't even realize this was going to be 33 until Goldberg said it.
Exactly my point. So they've done such a good job of dropping the number associated with the WrestleMania that it almost sounded weird to hear Goldberg say, quote, WrestleMania 33.
Right. It'll come back. I bet it comes back in 7 years. I bet the number comes back at 40 and then 50. Those big milestone numbers.
Well, I don't know, because I think that they really I think that feels old to kids, maybe, and they want to kind of stay young and relevant, is my theory.
Okay. Do you think it hurts the Super Bowl?
Well,
no. Super Bowl 51?
But they're not. I think they're going more for prestige, and when you think of their target demo, yeah, I don't think the Super Bowl is as worried about it as people as fickle as wrestling fans.
Yeah.
So there was obviously, I don't mind the numbers, but it does keep it. You're right. I kind of forgot what number it is. My cheat sheet for me is I'm always the same age as WrestleMania. So it kind of is easy for me to remember, I'm 33, so it's WrestleMania 33.
I forget that you're a baby. I forget how young you are.
I'm not a baby. I'm going bald.
You're an infant. You're so young compared to me. You're my young friend.
I mean, but I don't know.
You're a teenager.
I'm not a teenager.
You're like a teenager.
I'm not WrestleMania 14.
In September, I'm going to be 40, and you're 33. You're like WrestleMania 21 to me, which is a good WrestleMania.
We'll always have WrestleMania 21, Jer.
We always will.
That's the one WrestleMania, Jer, and that is the only WrestleMania we've watched together.
The only one we watched together. It was, and it was a super special one, too.
It was great.
I can't.
Fantastic match that night. There was the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. Angle and Michaels was probably the match of the night. Interviewed Batista on the road to that match.
Right.
The whole Cena phenomenon. Ake Bono and Big Show had a sumo match.
That was a great WrestleMania for so many reasons.
And I actually kind of thought that the streak might have ended that night because I thought that Orton was a logical choice against Undertaker.
And then Brett took his shirt off and people started giving him chops in the kitchen.
Yeah, I got put in a sharpshooter at some point. People had money riding on whether or not I would tap.
And you didn't. You didn't tap.
Did I not? Either way, so there was that. A little disappointed. I was looking forward all weekend to a Seth Rollins update, and what we got last night was not a Seth Rollins update.
Right. That's because I think he's not as hurt as they want us to think.
That's my theory, though, too, is they promised us an update. What they really did was just remind us he got hurt. So that's all the update was. An update is new information. So screw you, writers. You know. Does I get excited for it?
I'm gonna give you.
Thank you for keeping me posted on that.
Yes.
And I will tell you what's going to happen at Super Bowl 52. It's going to take place.
Yes. Thank you for keeping me abreast.
You heard it here first.
Yes, you did.
Boy, when I saw the New Day take on the Shining Stars, I wanted to forget that the Shining Stars still existed, but they do.
They're the worst. Do you think that what you thought would happen to Kevin Owens after he loses the championship is happening to New Day?
New Day had something special happening with their title run. Length. It's not going to be as special moving forward, but they're not getting jobbed out. And I don't think Owens is going to get jobbed out, but neither one of those entities will be as big moving forward.
I'm into some New Day ice cream.
I kind of thought they were going to give the crowd ice cream, but they didn't.
I want some ice cream. I want some cereal. Like they know what they have with those guys. The marketing bonanza.
Another great small reference from Xavier to video game fans, renaming Francesco 2 Turbo, which was something that the Street Fighter and other series went through. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, then he had Street Fighter 2 Ultra Turbo, and I mean it's a whole thing. Xavier's my spirit animal. We get
outside before anyone else, and now I see it everywhere.
Cash Me Outside, how about that?
He had that before everybody. How about that?
She's going to be on Dr. Phil for a second appearance on Friday.
That poor girl kind of makes me sad. You showed me her page, and there's like a video of someone pulling her out of a car by her hair, yelling, "I'll cash outside." It just doesn't look like she has a great life. And
she's like 13, and she's being very sexualized, and like people hitting on her, and like, not only that, but just like with tantalizing photos that are inappropriate for a 13-year-old. Like it's craziness.
She's 4 years older than Allison.
Oh God.
Yeah, exactly. She's 4 years older than my daughter, and I'm just like, oh God, if Allie ever says cash me outside, I'm gonna have to lock her in a room.
If she ever says cash me outside, you can cash her in a room.
Cash it, you're grounded. There's no cash.
I don't know where we came up with the terms stacked promos. I don't know if you made that term up or if I did, but you used it in a recent episode. We got a picturesque version of those quote stacked promos that I just hate with the Cruiserweight Championship.
And I was so busy yawning through the whole cruiserweight thing that I didn't even notice it.
They give you those purple ropes, man. Just make you want to snooze.
Although Austin Aries did have another like a contender for line of the night.
Oh, well, he's mine. He's my line of the night.
Go ahead and say it.
It's another. He said, in reference to Tony Nese.
Yeah, this is it. This is it.
I have no issues with Tony Nese. He's got great abs. And then he elaborated and said, Michael Cole has a body like a bag of milk. Or one of those yours?
Yeah, when he says, here comes Tony Nese's abs, is what it did it for me.
Yeah, to me it was, I had no issues with Tony Nese. He's got great abs. As if that's all he is. I like that. Just a few more things. Has anybody's, I don't know if you want to call it a return or a debut, but has anybody's return or debut in the history?
They've been doing this for what now, 6 months?
I mean, and it's been every week, new pictures. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, what can they possibly do? She's going to have to come out naked. She's going to have to be naked.
Yeah, but even, I mean, this is...
I love it. 6 months of Emelina hype. Her run will last 1/6 of it.
You're probably right. If that, it's a crowded women's scene on Raw.
Yeah.
So
they're putting her on the wrong show, anyways. My
last note from Raw last night has to do with the upcoming Festival of Friendship. There's no way their friendship is going to survive the Festival of Friendship.
No, but I love that it's called the Festival of Friendship.
I do love that too, and that's what makes it. It's too perfect a setting for their friendship to end.
Yeah.
You know. So, anything you want to mention that we missed? We did. I mean, we got a lot covered. We went long again today.
It's good to see you, which is getting closer and closer to having a new date. We're calling that weekend the Festival of Friendship.
Absolutely, the Parade of Friendship. Blabbing, I appreciate it because it helps the show keep going forward.
I'd like to thank our co-host God for coming today.
Oh yeah,
here.
You've got some sun going on out there.
Yeah.
So for myself and for Blabble and Jerry Valeri, we thank you so much for being a part of the Post to Post show. We'll talk to you later. We'll have predictions for you. Swallowed by the light. Go to the light, Jerry. Go to the light.